Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey folks, every now and then we're a little tight on cash. Well, if you're tight on cash, we want to encourage you to visit Pawn Max Incorporated, located at 2404 Pinona Avenue. Pawn Max is the place to get a loan or sell your valuables, hassle-free, making it easy to turn your unwanted gold, jewelry, tools, even firearms into cash. Why let your pieces collect dust when you need to collect dollars? They're licensed and insured and will give you the best money for your items. Go visit them today at 2404 Pinona Avenue right here in Macon, or visit them online at pawnmaxinc.com. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
This just in. A large storm in the Gulf has all but decimated the entire Gulf shrimping industry, with the exception of a lone shrimping boat manned by a legless veteran and a young gentleman that hasn't stopped waving at our cameras or telling us his mama's advice. Odd. In completely unrelated news, Kudzu Seafood Company, the authentic Gulf Coast seafood restaurant that brought the coast to Middle Georgia, has also cornered the shrimp market in Central Georgia. Barbecue shrimp and cheese grits, buffalo shrimp, firecracker shrimp tacos, shrimp po' boys, shrimp burgers, shrimp baskets, and Dr. Pepper, all on 3rd Street in downtown Macon. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
Join us Monday night at the Methodist Children's Home. And good evening and welcome in on a Thursday night as we are live from Stoner's Pizza here on this December the 7th, of 2017. Well, the regular season is behind us as far as college football goes, as last week it ended in the Southeastern Conference and the ACC and the Big Ten and the Big 12 and everybody else as we came down to the conference championship games. Clemson came out on top of their game against Miami. They are the number 1 seed in the college football playoffs. Oklahoma won their game rather handedly against TCU. They are number 2. The Georgia Bulldogs came in and defeated the Auburn Tigers in a revenge game after the November 11th win by the Tigers over in Auburn, Alabama. The Dogs went into the SEC championship and won it 28-7. Of course, Wisconsin and Ohio State played for the Big Ten. The Pac-12 was Stanford and USC. USC won that. And the College Football Playoff Committee put the Georgia Bulldogs in at number 3, and probably to the chagrin of the Big Ten folks, they voted the 11-1 Alabama Crimson Tide in over the 10-3 Ohio State Buckeyes, even though they beat undefeated Wisconsin last week, and I think it was the right decision. Alabama's only loss during the year was to number 6 ranked Auburn at the time on the road. Auburn beat them by 16 points, I believe, was the final difference in that game. And people seem to forget that Alabama, outside of the college football playoff poll that came out, I guess, around week 6, week 8, Alabama spent almost 11 weeks or 10 weeks at number 1 in both the coaches and the Associated Press poll after Clemson went down at their defeat at Syracuse. So Nick Saban found a way to get his team in there, and he'll have a month to get everybody healed up and ready to play as they get ready to take on Clemson. They will do that at the Mercedes Superdome down in New Orleans. And the other game will be number 2 Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield, probably the man that's going to win the Heisman Trophy. They travel to Pasadena to the mighty Rose Bowl to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. First time the Dogs have been there since 1945, maybe 49, might have been 47. We'll talk to some Georgia fans tonight. We're also going to be joined. We're going to talk a little bit of high school football here to start it out. We have 2 teams in the middle Georgia area that are still in the playoff contention, and they play for state championship, and I believe both of their games are tomorrow. And that is going to be the Warner Robins Demons at 14-0 as they travel to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium up in Atlanta to take on 14-0 Rome, the Wolves of Rome, who've had one heck of a year. We're going to talk about that game. And then Peach County Trojans, Chad Campbell and his group goes up, and they're going to play. They're 13-1, and they're going to take on 13-1 Calhoun as well. Some impressive offensive numbers by all of these teams. Of course, this is going to be the AAA and the 5A state title game. Mary Persons lost out last week, as well as Jones County. So Warner Robins still in it. Peach County still in it. We're going to talk to the marvelous one, Marvis James, about it here in just a few minutes and get his thoughts on that. Your calls tonight, 478-550-0524. We're going to talk about Georgia and Auburn. We'll take a look back at that. We'll take a look back at all the conference championship games on this cold and early winter night here in Macon. The rain's still coming down. It's nasty weather. Won't have to worry about that in the state championship games tomorrow, though. It'll be a cool 78 degrees up at Arthur Blank's Taj Mahal when they kick those games off on Friday and Saturday. There's going to be some fantastic football to watch as far as high school goes. I believe all of those games will be on Georgia Public Broadcasting, as they have been historically for the last number of years. So still some exciting high school football here in Macon, in the middle Georgia area rather, as we'll watch those games with interest, and we'll talk to Marvin James, who's followed both of these teams very closely this year for Channel 13, and we'll get his thoughts on their action. So we'll take our first break of the night. We'll come back. We'll get Marvin on the phone, and we'll talk to him on his thoughts on the high school football. We'll take our first break of the night. You're listening to Gridiron Gab here on a Thursday night, live from Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. We'll be back after these timeouts.
Oh my, what a pizza pie. Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, "Oh my, what a pizza pie!" Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey folks, every now and then we're a little tight on cash. Well, if you're tight on cash, we want to encourage you to visit Pawn Max Incorporated, located at 2404 Pinona Avenue. Pawn Max is the place to get a loan or sell your valuables, hassle-free, making it easy to turn your unwanted gold, jewelry, tools, even firearms into cash. Why let your pieces collect dust when you need to collect dollars? They're licensed and insured and will give you the best money for your items. Go visit them today at 2404 Pinona Avenue right here in Macon, or visit them online at pawnmaxinc.com. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. And welcome back in on a Thursday night. We're live at Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. It is Gridiron Gab. Well, we'll go back and talk about all the college football, but before we do any of that, we're going to talk about the two Middle Georgia football teams that are still in the GHSA playoffs. And for the state title games tomorrow night in 5A, it's the Warner Robins Demons taking on the Rome Wolves. And Peach County and Coach Campbell and the Trojans head up to take on a 13-1 Calhoun team who only got beat by Cartersville, which was a prolific football team again this year, even though they got upset in the playoffs. But the man that knows as much about that as anybody is with me right now, and that is the marvelous one, Marvin James, who is on the road doing some digging tonight, I'm sure, for a big story for us on Channel 13 later on. Marvin, good evening, and thanks for joining us, bud.
Hey, Russell, what's going on, buddy? I'm glad to be a part of the show.
Well, so where are you headed tonight? I guess you had the 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock news. Now you're on the road, right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm headed to Jeffersonville. They're having a meet and greet in Twiggs County, introducing their newest football coach, Kelvin Blackshear. He's a former graduate of Twiggs County. He's coming back home to coach up the Cobras a little bit and get them back on track. He played under the Dexter Copeland regime the very first time when they were with a little before Darquez Denard, but he's around from that era, so
right.
He's happy to get back, and they're introducing him to a lot of the parents and the students tonight.
Well, it's a great atmosphere down there, and they've got a ton of loyal fan support down there. I had the opportunity to do a couple of the games this year. One of the things that I noticed is the number of players they dressed out was really down on the sideline, and I'm sure they're exciting and wanting to get those numbers back up over there because you had Dexter Copeland a couple of stints over there, then Ashley Harden, who is now the head coach at Northeast. So a great tradition down there with the Cobras, and I know they're looking to get back on the right side of the win column again.
Exactly right. You know, they've had about 7 coaches over the past 9 or 10 years, and they're just looking to get back some normalcy, and I think he's going to bring some of that. Just being a graduate from there, he can tell the guys what to expect. He can tell the guys what to look for, and he can also say, look at the guys and tell them, "Hey, I've been exactly where you are."
That's right.
So let's go ahead and bring it back to where it was, and I think that he'll do that.
And he'll have the support of parents that remember him there as a player and a part of that program, and those kind of things matter. If you don't believe stability to the program matters, look at what Auburn just did with Gus Malzahn, and I think that was a key factor in keeping him at Auburn and making him the offer. But that's a conversation for another day. But
that's right.
So let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit tomorrow. The state championship. Now, both the 5A and the 3A games are tomorrow, I believe. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Okay, so Warner Robins
starts at 1 o'clock.
Say that again.
Peach County kicks off at 1 o'clock with Calhoun, and then Warner Robins and Rome kick off at 4:30 following.
Okay, let's go and look. Let's look at this AAA game first of all between Peach County and Calhoun. Both of these teams come in 13-1. The only loss for Peach County was a last-second field goal by your Warner Robins Demons down in the Valley this year. That was their only loss. Calhoun, their only loss was to Cartersville on a bad night. Cartersville kind of got up on them early and then kind of rolled, but. Two good football teams. Peach County, talk a little bit about them, what you've seen defensively and offensively from Peach County and what they've done, what they had to do this year, Marvin, to get into this state title game.
Well, the one thing about Peach County, anytime you talk about them, you know they're going to have great athletes on the field. They got speed that covers sideline to sideline, and that's the one thing that I would say about them is depth. They've continued to battle. They've lost a couple key players this year on the run. Kiaris Jackson had a wrist injury. It looks like he's going to be out. He's been out since Pierce County second round of the playoffs. But, these guys have continued to be next man up and continue to step up all over the field. On defensively, they're led by Fred Jackson. He is a Georgia Tech commit. He is a middle linebacker that just really is a coach on the field coach. Chad Campbell has nothing but good, and Lee Campbell have nothing but good things to say about this guy. He's been playing all over the place. So, and then offensively, look at Antonio Gilbert, their quarterback, who's been starting for about 3 years now. He has one interception on the season.
Right.
And that talks a lot about the kind of accuracy that he has. And, and Kiaris isn't even the leading receiver, and he's going to Georgia. I think Kiaris drawn a lot of the double teams and things like that, and those other guys have really killed him. So I'm excited about it. I think Peach County, like I said, whenever you hear Peach County, you think about those black hats, they're going to play football. And they're not going to disappoint. Yeah,
you talked about Antonio Gilbert. He threw the ball 300 times this year. He was 200 to 300, 23 touchdowns, as you said, only one interception, 3,031 yards, and then they got Trayvon Woolfolk at the tailback spot. He had almost 1,200 yards rushing this year, averaging 8 yards per carry. So even with Kiaris Jackson gone, they've still continued to put up tremendous offensive numbers all the way into this championship game.
Yeah, and I think that Trayvon Woolfolk is the MVP of this team. Nobody really expected him to come out and put those massive numbers like that. I mean, just amazing. But if you know the bloodline history of his parents and his sister, who recently graduated down at Florida State playing basketball, Naja Woolfolk, you know that they have that bloodline to know that they're going to put talent on the field. But Trayvon Woolfolk is a big load, and I expect him to have a big game tomorrow as well.
All right, so we move on from that now. Calhoun, of course, is 13-1. Their quarterbacks had a pretty good year, but they're more of a balanced attack, kind of like these two teams mirror each other between Calhoun and Peach. Marvin, in this game, even with Kiaris Jackson gone, do you feel like that? I just always have loved the mental toughness of Peach County and their team speed, especially on defense. What are they going to run into against Calhoun?
I think the fact that Kiaris has been gone a couple weeks now. Last year they went through the same thing. He got hurt. He broke his leg, and they had to go through this again. I just think that mentality at Peach County is next man up. A lot of these guys are so good. Tyreek McGee, he just came out of there 2 years ago. He had to wait his turn, and a lot of these kids are just waiting their turn because so much great talent has come out of there. Demarcus Robinson. Jaquez Green, they came out of there in the 90s. A lot of these kids just have to wait their turn. So I think that's what they're doing. They're getting their turn a little bit earlier in their career than they thought, and they're making the best of it. And I think they're going to show up again tomorrow night. You're going to hear some names that you're not really familiar with. You haven't heard a lot all season, but it's just because the talent is so great down in the valley.
Well, one thing about it, Chad Campbell and his brother Lee on his staff now, he'll have his football team ready to play. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, they're on the road now. They actually practiced in Athens at their indoor facility. So they're actually staying up there early. They're going to get jump on it early. The one thing about these games, they're great to play in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but it throws you off the schedule a little bit. I mean,
sure.
Imagine the first game is at 10 in the morning. I mean, I don't think anybody – I don't even know my name at 10 in the morning, but
right.
These guys are a lot younger, so they'll be okay. But to play at 1 o'clock is just something that you're not really used to. So you just don't want to get the kids out of their routine. At least at 4:30, it's like a practice. So you got to deal with that. But you just want to kind of get the kids in the routine. So Campbell and the coach are already en route, already up there. So they'll be ready to play tomorrow at 1 o'clock. All
right, so let's move on to the 5A game. It's the Warner Robins Demons taking on the Rome Wolves. Talk about this Rome team, 14-0, 6,100 yards of offense. They're averaging right at 450 yards per game, rushing and passing. They've got 93 touchdowns on the year. Marvin, I was looking at their stats. They're averaging 52 points a game, only giving up 10 a game. They've scored 720 points this year. That's quite impressive offensive numbers. And they've only given up 10 points a game.
Well, I tell you, a lot of that, you hear those stats all year long. We're in Central Georgia, so I don't really concentrate on them a lot of that. And I got to tell you, it really didn't mean anything to me at all until I heard them beat the University of Beaufort last week, like they stole something. And it made me sit up and say, oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
And, everybody knows what Beaufort has been able to do and dominate on every level, every classification, over the past 10, 20 years. So, yeah, this is the toughest team that Warner Robins is definitely going to have to face. They both have one lone opponent in common, and that's Carrollton. And they both handled Carrollton pretty well. They both scored more than 45 points. Warner Robins scored 63.
Right.
And I think Rome scored 45 or something like that on Carrollton. So it just goes to show that they have explosive offenses. But that front seven for Rome, those Wolves, are beast-like. They're all D1 guys. They're all big-time prospects. So Warner Robins definitely got their hands full. They're going to have to come out and play ball. They're not going to be able to come out and be a second-half team. I think they're going to have to be hungry from the very beginning. But that's what you want, right? Everybody, it makes me laugh, and I know they ask you this all the time, too. Once you get into the playoffs, especially the Final Four, hey, are they any good? Well, everybody's good now.
That's right.
Everybody's playing. They're the last couple teams standing. So this is the way you want it. You don't want to backdoor into it. I think Warner Robins has the easy bracket on that side, going through the other side of the bracket. So they're going to have to earn it if they want to win it tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, so Warner Robins comes into this game in their own right, 14-0. They put up 5,500 yards offense, almost 420 per game. They rushed for 162. Dylan Fromm's thrown for an average of 258 a game. He comes in on the game. He's thrown 256 for 409 out of 409 attempts. 33 touchdowns, 63% completion ratio. And then they look at Jarius Burnett, too, who, to me, has been the balance of that offense. He's rushed for almost 1,200 yards this year and 16 touchdowns himself.
Absolutely. He has been a consistent juggernaut. When they sell him, they put in David West, who is more of the speed guy. So they will have, thunder and lightning. He's the thunder, definitely. And I think in this kind of game, you're going to have to wear him down. You're going to have to run it against that front and see what they can do. But Dylan Fromm, he just was voted the region player of the year,
right?
Offensively, that's something a feat to be recognized for. He's his first year starting. He couldn't start. He had some guy in front of him last year at his old school. Jake, I think that's his name, or Jake something. But anyway, Jake Fromm is his brother. So maybe if he can channel that Jake Fromm from what he did last week, and I hate to say that against your boys Auburn, but maybe if he can channel that energy in the same venue, they can have some success.
Well, I think it's going to be obviously both of these teams, Warner Robins and Peach, are playing quality opponents, but you know what? So is the team on the other side. Warner Robins is going to be 14-0. Rome's 14-0. They're high school
right.
kids. You're going to kick it off, and you're going to see what happens. Quite a run by Warner Robins this year, and Dylan Fromm and his brother, they're both juniors this year. They're back for one more year, right?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Okay.
They are.
All right. Well, you're going to be there at the Dome Live tomorrow, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I'm going to get there a little early. You know, I'm excited. My assignment is to cover the Warner Robins games, and Jonathan Perez is going to cover the Peach County game. But, you know, I've covered Peach County just as much as I've covered anybody this season. So I'm going to go down there and watch a little bit and just kind of get the atmosphere in. I mean, you know, the two biggest days of my career in sports that I love the most are Championship Day and Scholarship Signing. So that's what it's all about. You want to win, and you want to see these kids go on and get their education. So anytime I can see that, I'm all excited about it. I fell kind of short in my high school career of playing in the state championship. So I've always getting excited for kids to see a chance for them to win it all. Fortunately, somebody has to lose, but it's always a good experience to see that you're playing with the best of the best. One
thing about it, you'll remember it the rest of your life, no doubt about it.
Absolutely, no doubt about that.
All right, Marvin, so have fun down in Twiggs County tonight. Get us a scoop on that new head coach down there, and we'll look for you prowling the sidelines, you and Jonathan, tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Russell, it's always a great deal, man. I appreciate all you do for the young student athletes here in Central Georgia, man. You're a good man, and you can tell your heart is in it. So I appreciate you exclusively, brother.
Thank you, Marvin. I appreciate you, and have a good time tomorrow. Enjoy it, and pull your demons through, buddy.
Yes, sir. Lego.
Lego? All right. Thank you, Marvin. That was Marvin James of the Marvelous One from Channel 13. He'll be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium tomorrow as in 5A state title game. It'll be Warner Robins and Rome. And I'll tell you what, Warner Robins got Dylan Fromm, Jake's little brother. He was a 5A Offensive Player of the Year. This Rome team's got Knox Cadam, Cadam maybe is how the pronunciation goes. His stats on the year, as we said, Dylan Fromm was 256 completions out of 409 attempts, and he averaged about 260 a game, 63% completion ratio. The kid over at Rome was 106. He only threw it 148 times, but he threw it for 1,956 yards. And get this, he only had 2 interceptions. He rushed it for an additional 665 yards and 10 touchdowns. As we said, the Rome Wolves have put up 52 points a game, only giving up 10. Jarius Burnett is as Marvin said, I think he could be a big key tomorrow for the Demons. He's rushed it 144 times for 1,154 yards. That's an 8-yard average and 16 touchdowns. On the other side for Rome, they've got Jameis Griffin. He's rushed it 163 times for 1,220 yards. But get this, 27 touchdowns. He's averaging 7.5 yards per carry. So going to be some great football tomorrow as we kick off the Georgia High School Association championships. I'll try to get that schedule up and pass it along some times to you once again on what time the kickoffs and everybody will be. Both Warner Robins and Peach County will play tomorrow, so both of their games are in the Dome. Peach County's going to kick off early, I believe. Marvin said 12 o'clock, and we'll get you a time before we get off the air tonight for Warner Robins and Rome. So, high school football wraps up this weekend. College football wrapped up last weekend, with the exception of this Saturday. One of the great games as far as pageantry and what it means to the country, the Army-Navy game this weekend. Of course, we had Coach Jeff Munkin's been a long time friend of the Macon Touchdown Club, and we had Jeff here a couple of weeks ago, and so we wish him the best. He broke the streak that Navy had on them last year, I believe it was, when they won, and I know Coach Munkin's looking to get another victory for the Black Knights as they take on the Midshipmen from Philadelphia this weekend, and I believe that kickoff is at 3:30 on CBS, maybe 2:30, but that is this weekend. And to me, as a college football fan, since I was a kid, that was a game that I always enjoyed watching, and I used to watch it with my dad, and it was, it wasn't the greatest football in the world, but, in his generation, that was some of the finest football in the country. But, these kids aren't scholarship athletes. These are academic kids, and they're going into the service. Some of them are going to put their lives on the line very soon with what they'll have to do to serve their country. And the least I can do is sit down and watch them for a little while, because I certainly enjoy doing it. And that'll be this weekend. All right, your calls when we come back at 478-550-0524. We want to talk about everything that happened in the conference championship games last weekend. We'll look a little ahead of the bowl games. And we're also going to look at all these coaching changes and updates and, all the rest of that stuff that's gone on this week. As we've had a lot of hires come around this week and a lot of new contracts signed, and boy, it's going to be a nice Christmas around the Southeast for a few folks. As we said, your calls when we come back, 478-550-0524. We'll be back after this timeout. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. There comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'Em You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'Em You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em You Sell 'Em.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
This just in. A large storm in the Gulf has all but decimated the entire Gulf shrimping industry, with the exception of a lone shrimping boat manned by a legless veteran and a young gentleman that hasn't stopped waving at our cameras or telling us his mama's advice. Odd. In completely unrelated news, Kudzu Seafood Company, the authentic Gulf Coast seafood restaurant that brought the coast to Middle Georgia, has also cornered the shrimp market in Central Georgia. Barbecue shrimp and cheese grits, buffalo shrimp, firecracker shrimp tacos, shrimp po' boys, shrimp burgers, shrimp baskets, and Dr. Pepper, all on 3rd Street in downtown Macon. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
Join us Monday night at the Methodist Children's Home on Pierce Avenue as the Macon Touchdown Club continues its 72nd season of honoring student athletes. Our program will begin at 6:30 with our dinner soon to follow. Our guest speaker this week is none other than former University of Georgia All-American and ESPN analyst Matt Stitzcomb. That's Monday night, November the 6th at the Methodist Children's Home. It's the Macon Touchdown Club. We'll see you on Monday night. For more information, just log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily, use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey folks, every now and then we're a little tight on cash. Well, if you're tight on cash, we want to encourage you to visit Pawn Max Incorporated, located at 2404 Pinona Avenue. Pawn Max is the place to get a loan or sell your valuables, hassle-free, making it easy to turn your unwanted gold, jewelry, tools, even firearms into cash. Why let your pieces collect dust when you need to collect dollars? They're licensed and insured and will give you the best money for your items. Go visit them today at 2404 Pinona Avenue right here in Macon, or visit them online at pawnmaxinc.com. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
This just in. A large storm in the Gulf has all but decimated the entire Gulf shrimping industry, with the exception of a lone shrimping boat manned by a legless veteran and a young gentleman that hasn't stopped waving at our cameras or telling us his mama's advice. Odd. In completely unrelated news, Kudzu Seafood Company, the authentic Gulf Coast seafood restaurant that brought the coast to Middle Georgia, has also cornered the shrimp market in Central Georgia. Barbecue shrimp and cheese grits, buffalo shrimp, firecracker shrimp tacos, shrimp po' boys, shrimp burgers, shrimp baskets, and Dr. Pepper, all on 3rd Street in downtown Macon. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
Join us Monday night at the Methodist Children's Home on Pierce Avenue as the Macon Touchdown Club continues its 72nd season of honoring student athletes. Our program will begin at 6:30 with our dinner soon to follow. Our guest speaker this week is none other than former University of Georgia All-American and ESPN analyst Matt Stitzcomb. That's Monday night, November the 6th at the Methodist Children's Home. It's the Macon Touchdown Club. We'll see you on Monday night. For more information, just log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily. Use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey folks, every now and then we're a little tight on cash. Well, if you're tight on cash, we want to encourage you to visit Pawn Max Incorporated, located at 2404 Pinona Avenue. Pawn Max is the place to get a loan or sell your valuables, hassle-free, making it easy to turn your unwanted gold, jewelry, tools, even firearms into cash. Why let your pieces collect dust when you need to collect dollars? They're licensed and insured and will give you the best money for your items. Go visit them today at 2404 Pinona Avenue right here in Macon, or visit them online at pawnmaxinc.com. And welcome back on a Thursday night as we are live from Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. I am Russell Deese. We want to thank Marvin James for coming on just a little bit. I know the camera angle's off a little bit here. We got the table set up a little differently, and Charles is done snuck way over here next to me. I don't know. I guess he wants a hug or something still from that game in Auburn.
I thought you needed a hug.
I do need a hug. I'm pretty close to needing a hug from what I needed last week. Okay, so nasty night in Georgia. Nobody.
Yes.
Not a lot of folks out on the road tonight, are
No, not tonight. That's why we do delivery.
That's why you do delivery. So give them the number here if they want to order some great wing, calzone, you name it.
The number is 254-2500.
All right, so we're kind of at the end. We just got through talking with Marvin James from Channel 13. He's going to the high school championships. We got two Middle Georgia teams still in it, and Warner Robins and Peach County. That's going to be a lot of fun. That'll be on Georgia Public Broadcasting. They'll have half the games. I mean, you've got single A private, single A public, double A, triple A, quad A, 5A, 6A, and 7A. So they'll split them up over 4 games each tomorrow and Saturday. So you want to watch some great high school football. There's going to be some guys there that are going to be playing for Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, Tennessee, Auburn, Florida. There's going to be a lot of talent on that field this weekend.
I remember reading an article a few years back where they were comparing where Georgia kind of ranked for athletes, and it said they were essentially passing California in the amount of athletes we produced in this state.
Well, I mean, I've always thought ranking it wise, probably when you looked at it, it was probably
Texas,
Florida, then California, and then probably Georgia.
Yeah.
And then probably after that, maybe Ohio.
Yeah, and then you could probably go in a lot of different directions.
Yeah,
after
you probably could after that. You could certainly go.
Alabama puts out a lot.
Yeah, probably the numbers are not as great there, but the quality of athlete is certainly there. There's a lot of 4 and 5 stars come out of the state of Alabama.
Louisiana.
Louisiana too. They loaded up down there, especially when it comes to defensive players.
Yeah.
All right, so looking back last weekend, we'll start with the one I don't want to talk about. We'll start with the Dogs and the Tigers. Your thoughts watching that game, the difference between that game in Auburn and the difference in the game at the Georgia Dome?
Mistakes. I mean, when I watched the game the first time around, Auburn dominated the offensive and then defensive line. This game, Georgia handled it a whole lot better. Fromm come out passing, which didn't allow them to kind of get all in the box like they were the time before. The game overall, though, watching it, the way they played, it was pretty even the way I seen it, but all the turnovers and mistakes that Auburn was making just killed them.
Yeah, and Georgia fans kind of felt the same way that happened in Auburn as well, too. Listen, from an Auburn perspective, there was one difference in the football game to me. And you can say it caused turnovers and miscues and everything else, and that was Kerryon Johnson, who obviously was hurt.
Yeah. So I guess they were looking a little more towards Stidham to try to carry him a little more, which he didn't have a bad game.
But it gave Georgia the opportunity to pin their ears back and come after him.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what they did. And they reaped the benefits of it. Dogs going to win it 28-7. Ohio State pretty much had a pretty good game against Wisconsin, handled them pretty well, I thought. Probably a game that you and I both picked that Ohio State was going to win that game.
Yes, and I watched that game. I actually, at one point, I was like, because I'm a Bama fan, and I knew that was one of the deciding games, I was like, well, I didn't want Ohio State to blow them out, because then I would have just gave them that much more of an argument
for them to get in, being a conference champion.
And so then Wisconsin came back at the end and kept it kind of close. So, but I mean, I honestly think even if I wasn't an Alabama fan, Alabama is the better team, and they deserved to get in.
Well, I mean, and Urban Meyer kind of set himself up with his statements last year about, if you don't win your conference championship, you don't deserve to get in. He used that against Penn State for Ohio State to get in. And, he used that with the loss record for him, the fact that he won it, for them to get in this year. Clemson and Miami. That one kind of went the way we thought as well, too.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a blowout from the get-go. I think Miami, their defense is good, but their offense still needs some work.
Yeah, they're going to have to get some offensive help, and there's a 6'7" quarterback up in Athens, Georgia, that may end up being there next year.
Yeah,
that may give them some help. TCU and Oklahoma, I picked that as my upset game. I thought TCU may be getting a second look at Oklahoma. I questioned Oklahoma's defense, but they got the job done. TCU's pretty prolific offense. They shut them down again.
Yeah. That was another game where I was rooting for TCU because I knew if TCU won and
Ohio
State won, it was a lock for Alabama at that point. So.
Okay, so then the playoff poll comes out. The selection committee makes the selections, and they pick Clemson #1 seed. I believe that is correct, even though they have a loss to Syracuse. It was an ugly loss, but their quarterback went down in that game, and they lost the game in the second half. The only thing about the Syracuse game is Syracuse was such a bad football team this year.
Yeah.
But Wake Forest did it in Miami, too. Oklahoma comes in as the #2 seed. Georgia comes in as the #3 seed, and they pick Alabama as the #4 seed. My argument was this. Alabama's only loss was on the road against #6 Auburn at home, who had also beaten #1 Georgia. Alabama spent 9-10 weeks in the coaches in the AP poll as the #1 team in the country. Now, here's the other thing that I never understood about the argument against Alabama. Because it was all 2020 hindsight. When Alabama beat Florida State was ranked #3 in the country.
Yeah.
And everybody had them picking them to possibly go to the ACC showdown or win the ACC over Clemson. It was going to come down to those two playing each other. And, so I just felt like that the Alabama argument that didn't play anybody. Well, they played who's on the schedule. Mississippi State ended up being, I think they were number 16 or 18 in the country when they played them.
Yeah, they were a good team, had a good quarterback. We played LSU. We beat them. I thought, honestly, if you looked at Ohio State's quality wins and our quality wins, there really wasn't a big difference. There was a little bit, but it wasn't no big gaping hole like all of them were saying.
Yeah, their wins came later in the season against Penn State, against Wisconsin, who was highly ranked. They beat Michigan, and Michigan kind of turned out not to be very good this year. I think they're a good defensive football team, but they need some help offensively, and they're going to get it, and we'll go into that here in just a second. But you look at these conference championships, USC and Stanford, neither one of them got a shot. They're not going to get in. I know the guys on Fox Sports that are big, they carry all the Pac-12 stuff out there. They couldn't understand why you wouldn't consider a USC team with a 2-loss. But, listen, I think the playoff committee got it right this year. There will be an argument going forward. This contract runs out in 2020, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to 8 teams, to me, I think it's a good idea from a standpoint of what I want to see from a playoff.
Yeah.
But, boy, does it diminish the regular season. Big games like Auburn and Alabama and Auburn and Georgia and Miami and Georgia Tech or Clemson and FSU at the end of the year. Because, hey, if I got no losses, do I risk somebody getting hurt with a chance of me being ranked?
Yeah.
If I'm in the top 4, top 5, top 6 in the country and I lose to somebody just ahead of me at the end of the year, I'm probably not dropping out of that top 8.
Yeah.
So I still got a shot at it. Does it diminish the regular season to you like it does me if they go to 8?
I think, well, number one, I think they're going to look at this. When you go to 8, now you're getting to where these kids are playing how many games?
About the same as 1A. They play 12. They play 11 regular seasons, and then they play the playoff games.
Yeah.
So it's but then
are you going to pull a regular season game if you do that?
Do you go away with a conference championship game?
Yeah. Well, I mean, several things you could look at, but I don't think it's going to diminish the regular season because I don't think any coach is going to risk losing and somebody else just outside getting really hot and jumping in.
I'll tell you the reason you do that. If you're undefeated and you've got no loss,
I would have to see how that would play out. I just don't see
I'm talking an undefeated team.
Yeah,
knowing you're going to get in. Do you want to? Do you play Kerryon Johnson if you're in Auburn and you're undefeated, knowing you're going to get in the 18 playoff? And risk him getting hurt?
Probably not.
Probably not. Probably not.
Or you're trying to get him better.
Or you're trying to get him better. If you're in, you're not playing him in the Alabama game. Maybe or that scenario didn't work this year because Auburn already had 2 losses. But you got 2 undefeated teams meeting each other. It could come into play.
Yeah.
Be like pro football. We see them set players all the time.
The 16th, 17th week, we're locked in the playoffs.
Right.
But see, there it is a little different. When you're depending on these rankings and them ranking the teams, you're not really locked in.
Right.
You might think you are, but anything can happen. The pro teams, they know we're locked in.
Yeah, that's right. And you still have a conference championship. If you lose that game, you're out.
Yeah.
That also diminishes your chances of being the 8th.
Yeah.
So, because then you automatically, with the Power 5 conferences, you've got the winner, and based on the record of the runner-up, it could bump you out. So, I don't know. I think there's going to be a cry, but in my opinion, the college football committee got it right this year.
Yes.
Okay, so we got a lot of time now before these next 2 games are played on January 1st. And by the way, on our Pick'em contest last week, we do want to congratulate Mike Parker. Mike Parker was the winner, and now Mike is in the running for the grand prize, which is going to be drawn right here at Stoner's Pizza the Thursday after the national championship game. So we're looking forward to that giveaway that night, and we expect we're going to load this place up with folks that night to give stuff away.
All right. I think I'd like to throw something in the pot on that.
Okay, what you got to throw in the pot?
Well, I'm going to be one of the partners with the Making Bacon and doing some advertising stuff with them. So I'm going to get a bunch of tickets, so I'm thinking we could give four tickets away with that to a game.
Yep, sure. Sounds great. All right, Making Bacon tickets. The pot gets sweeter as we go along. And maybe a Stoner's T-shirt.
I can throw a Stoner's T-shirt.
Okay, I'll be waiting for the Stoner's T-shirt. All right, so a lot of time to talk about this, a lot of shows to crunch all these numbers. Off the top of your head, I'm going to write this down as a matter of fact. We're going to talk about this. We're going to go, what's today? December the 7th. So we're going to start on December the 7th. And we're going to get Charles's read and my read on 12/7. And we're going to see if we have any changes in our mind. So let's go with the first playoff game, and that is going to be Alabama and Clemson. You don't have to give me a score unless you want to. Right now, what are you thinking you see in this playoff game between those two teams?
Wow, Clemson's probably. I'm not going to disagree with them. They're the best team in the country, especially defensively. They've gotten even better than they were last year. Supposed to be the best front seven in college football. It's going to be a battle. Again, I think Jalen Hurts has got to have an ability to get the ball down the field and be more consistent with doing that to get a defense to actually fear it and him not just look and run.
I don't look at the guy that way. I don't know where y'all get all that from. I understand that's been the knock on him. I look at the guy statistically. I watch him play in games, and he looks like to me he's going through progression. He's got weapons with his legs.
He does.
And how many games has he won for Alabama with his quarterback style over the last 2 years?
Oh, he's won a lot.
It's incredible.
But when you come into these, when it gets really close and really tough and you're playing these really good defenses,
yeah,
and you can't throw the ball consistently, what do? They start coming up.
I'll tell you, and a lot of people want, and I'll go look at the numbers, and we're going to go look at these numbers. I don't think the Alabama's run the football as well this year.
I think one of the things I don't see why they've done it, because they've got a stable of running backs that are really good, but they've depended on Hurts to run it more than – and the other guys, if you look at their average yards per carry, they're higher than Hurts. But they continue to run him.
That's because you got a tight end coach for your offensive coordinator. Hang on one second. Oh, that was Lane Kiffin. I'll call him back. He wouldn't know if you miss him yet.
Yeah, I miss his play calling a little bit.
He's quite a play caller. Other things. So right now, let's get a preliminary score. I'm not holding this to you. Alabama, Clemson. What you think?
I'm a Bama fan, so it'd be blasphemy if I picked against them. So I'm gonna say 21-17.
21-17, Alabama. Now let's flip this over and let's go look at the Dogs and the Sooners. Baker Mayfield, incredible talent, can throw it all over the place. They don't run for a lot of yards, but their running back gives them 100 yards to carry, and now he's got a rape charge against him.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Nice job. So Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma. Two things that I look at this game. We're going to talk to Brett Barron about this.
What is it with the Oklahoma running backs?
I don't know. Yeah, they've had some problems through the years. Number one, Georgia's defense has not seen an offense like Oklahoma. As far as passing the football, probably the closest they've seen numbers-wise is Missouri, and then maybe Auburn as far as throwing the football goes. But then again, Oklahoma's offense has not seen a defense like Georgia's either.
They don't see that.
Your thoughts on this game off the top of your head?
I'm gonna put it all on Georgia's defensive line.
Right.
I'm gonna say if their front seven can get pressure on Mayfield fairly consistently, they walk away with this game. I'll say it's not even close. Now, if on the other hand, if Oklahoma's offensive line can hold up, they may end up outscoring Georgia.
Yeah, as I look at this game, they're not going to stop Baker Mayfield from scoring. I just think he's got too many weapons. Now, if Georgia comes out, puts the ball on the ground, makes some mistakes, and Baker Mayfield has 4 touchdown passes in this game, Georgia's not winning this football game. But at this point, that's the matchup to me. It's Georgia's defense against Oklahoma's offense.
Yeah, can you get pressure on Mayfield? Can you make him uncomfortable, make him make some decisions quicker than he wants to? Because the little bit I've seen of him, sometimes he's standing back in that pocket like all day.
Yeah, and that's a little bit about the Big 12. The other thing is their defense gives up a lot of rushing yards.
That's not good.
And that's not good playing Georgia. One thing that Oklahoma's had, they've had 18, 19, 14, 15, 17 possessions offensively in the game. I don't think they're going to get that against this Georgia defense.
Yeah, no, because, it's not the let's air it out and score in 5 plays like they play against in that conference.
All right, give me a score in this one just for fun.
For fun, I'm going to say 34-21 Georgia.
That's probably a pretty good pick. So you've got an all-SEC national championship.
I'd love to see it.
Wouldn't we all? All right. Other than that, coaching changes. Let's talk about that. Of course, some stuff that went down this week. Arkansas offered Chad Morris the job. Florida's got Dan Mullen. Mississippi State hires Joe Moorhead last week from Penn State defensive coordinator. I think that's a pretty good hire, too. Ole Miss is going to keep Matt Luke. And then Tennessee has picked up Alabama defensive coordinator Jeremy Pruitt, former Georgia defensive coordinator. Texas A&M hands out $76 million to Jimbo Fisher. All of these, who got the best hire?
I'm going to go with probably the popular pick and say Texas A&M.
Wouldn't disagree with that. We'll see. Jimbo Fisher, I mean, everybody calls him a Saban disciple. What was he with? 3 years at LSU with the guy?
Yeah.
I mean, he was coaching before he coached it with Nick Saban. That whole thing that went down in Florida State was rather strange.
Yeah.
But it was nothing compared to what the hell went on at Tennessee. And, of course, FSU gets Willie Taggart from Oregon. He's 1 year, one and done at Oregon. He's out. He's a fantastic recruiter. That may not be a bad hire for Florida State down the road.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really. I've seen the guy. He was at South Florida, right?
Yes.
And he done really well with them, but I didn't really see a big enough body of work at Oregon to say, okay, this guy's going to be really good.
Yeah. Now he's 1 year there, and they obviously
wasn't it 2 years?
I think he was 1 year.
I thought he had like a losing record. Or he was like 6-6, and then this last year he went 8-4.
I thought he was one and done, but maybe he was there 2 years. But we'll see. But yeah, A&M. I mean, they've thrown the checkbook at Jimbo Fisher.
Well, they're married for at least 6 years.
Yeah,
there's no getting out of that.
No, it's going to be interesting. The Tennessee, A&M. And Dan Mullen at Florida the next 2 years is going to be really interesting to watch. Saban's got now, he's got, if you claim Jimbo Fisher, and I don't really claim him, he did coach with him for 3 years, I think, at LSU.
I think sometimes what these coaches, a lot of them, like Smart, you're going to say, yeah, for sure, he's a Saban clone. But with like Jimbo Fisher being an offensive guy, he's really probably not going to take them same, the on-the-field stuff, but the process to get a team to that point is probably where they learn so much from Saban.
Well, yeah, and, it's just almost incestuous now that he's got Kirby, he's got Jeremy Pruitt. Pruitt was their defensive back coach early in his career. Then he was there with Kirby Smart. Then he left and went to Florida State for 1 year. They won the national championship. His first job as a defensive coordinator. He came to Georgia for 2 years.
Well, he actually was defensive coordinator at Tennessee as well.
When?
Under Dooley. 1 year.
I didn't know that.
Yep, 1 year. It was the year Dooley got fired.
Okay. I didn't know he was defensive coordinator for him.
Yep.
He had the 1 year at Florida State I knew about. Then I thought that was really his first job as defensive coordinator, but we'll check into that. Not that I don't doubt you. But, God, that was a nightmare with Dooley at Tennessee.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Gus Malzahn gets a big contract at Auburn. Maybe stability with the program. He certainly knows how to recruit. He's getting top 5 programs every year in there. Auburn's got him for at least 3 more years, I think. He got a 5-year deal, and it's worth $7 million a year, a little over that. So, he turned down Arkansas. Chad Morris, I think, is a good hire. He did a great job at SMU, considering what they've been through the last 20 years. Probably the first legitimate football team at SMU in quite some time, and Arkansas fans, I'd be a little excited about Chad Morris being there.
He done a great job at Clemson. So.
Yeah. All right, so we're early in this. You're picking Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship. We're going to do this each week and see if anything changes.
I mean, honestly, if you ask me truthfully on the Alabama-Clemson game, I think you can take a coin and flip it.
And make it 21-17 Clemson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My deal with Alabama is, I did the numbers from the selection show from the Auburn game to when they would play again on January 1st. It gave them 38 days to get everybody healthy.
Yeah,
that's a lot of time for Nick Saban to prepare.
Yeah, and that's what his record's pretty good when he's got a lot of time to prepare.
Yep, and as I said it, only Alabama could find a way into the championship after getting beat. But they did it. All right, brother, anything we need to know about what's going on at Stoners this week? Weather's going to get bad. Got to order some food and get them delivered to them.
Well, like the Making Bacon thing, we're going to be giving away tickets all year long at the Warner Robins and the Macon store. And if these guys do anything like they done in Savannah, them tickets are going to be very hard to come by.
Yep, and you can get them in one place. It's called Stoner's Pizza right here on Forsyth Road and Warner Robins as well, too. And, all right, we're going to take a break. We'll get back to it here in just a second. You're listening to Gridiron Gab on DSBN Sports. We want to thank our sponsors, of course, tonight, Stoner's Pizza, You Park 'em, You Sell 'em, Pond Max Incorporated, Apparel Authority, the official clothier of DSBN Sports. We want to thank Cherokee Brick and Tile, Texas Border Grill, Kudzu Seafood, all the guys that have helped us out this year on the Pick'em contest. Still got 3 chances left, the 2 playoff games and the national championship game. So we've got 1 3-time winner. We've got a couple of 2-time winners and several 1-time winners on the year. So you got a chance. You got 3 more chances to get your name in the hat for the grand prize drawing. Once again, what we'll be giving away, a 12-gauge home defense shotgun, Marine shotgun, actually, a stainless pump action 12-gauge. We're giving away an AR-15, 5.56 by 223 Remington. And we also got a $1,000 Big Green Egg smoker from Cherokee Brick and Tile. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll take your calls at 478-550-0524. We'll be back after this timeout. Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'em, You Sell 'em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'em, You Sell 'em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'em, You Sell 'em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'em, You Sell 'em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey folks, every now and then we're a little tight on cash. Well, if you're tight on cash, we want to encourage you to visit Pond Max Incorporated, located at 2404 Pinona Avenue. Pond Max is the place to get a loan or sell your valuables. Hassle-free, making it easy to turn your unwanted gold, jewelry, tools, even firearms into cash. Why let your pieces collect dust when you need to collect dollars? They're licensed and insured and will give you the best money for your items. Go visit them today at 2404 Pinona Avenue right here in Macon, or visit them online at pondmaxinc.com. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'em, You Sell 'em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'em, You Sell 'em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember, folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em.
Before you put your company logo or event name on the streets, say it with authority. Apparel Authority. Now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's. Shirts, hats, cups, pens, patches, we put your logo on almost anything. Our team provides quality craftsmanship and custom embroidery, and our screen printing will turn your design into wearable works of art. Call or stop by in person for a quote. Apparel Authority, now at a new location off Eisenhower Parkway across from Lowe's.
This just in. A large storm in the Gulf has all but decimated the entire Gulf shrimping industry, with the exception of a lone shrimping boat manned by a legless veteran and a young gentleman that hasn't stopped waving at our cameras or telling us his mama's advice. Odd. In completely unrelated news, Kudzu Seafood Company, the authentic Gulf Coast seafood restaurant that brought the coast to Middle Georgia, has also cornered the shrimp market in Central Georgia. Barbecue shrimp and cheese grits, buffalo shrimp, firecracker shrimp tacos, shrimp po' boys, shrimp burgers, shrimp baskets, and Dr. Pepper, all on 3rd Street in downtown Macon. Stay tuned for more breaking news.
Join us Monday night at the Methodist Children's Home on Pierce Avenue as the Macon Touchdown Club continues its 72nd season of honoring student athletes. Our program will begin at 6:30 with our dinner soon to follow. Our guest speaker this week is none other than former University of Georgia All-American and ESPN analyst Matt Stitzcomb. That's Monday night, November the 6th at the Methodist Children's Home. It's the Macon Touchdown Club. We'll see you on Monday night. For more information, just log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com.
Oh my, what a pizza pie! Take one bite and you'll say it too. In fact, take one bite of anything they cook at Stoner's Pizza Joint and they've got you. You'll immediately taste the difference because they make their dough daily. Use only the finest cheese and top quality meats. Stoner's even cuts their vegetables fresh every day. Combine all that on the crisp crust taste of a stone oven, and in between bites you'll say, oh my, what a pizza pie! Stoner's Pizza Joint, Forsyth Road, Macon, and Houston Lake Road, Warner Robins.
Planning on a holiday party with friends, family, or coworkers? Texas Border Grill's private banquet room offers seating from 5 to 55. Lunch to dinner 7 days a week. Featuring an amazing menu with aged beef, seafood, and so many other signature dishes. Texas Border Grill.
Hey folks, Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. When you get ready to buy a new car or a newer automobile, there's always the dilemma of what to do with your current car. Well, that's where You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue comes in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For 18 years, You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em has been the only alternative to giving your car to a local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market your car yourself. So when you get ready to sell your old car, give them a call today at 254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, 3306 Vineville Avenue. Hey folks, every now and then we're a little tight on cash. Well, if you're tight on cash, we want to encourage you to visit Pawn Max Incorporated, located at 2404 Pinona Avenue. Pawn Max is the place to get a loan or sell your valuables, hassle-free, making it easy to turn your unwanted gold, jewelry, tools, even firearms into cash. Why let your pieces collect dust when you need to collect dollars? They're licensed and insured and will give you the best money for your items. Go visit them today at 2404 Pinona Avenue right here in Macon, or visit them online at pawnmaxinc.com. It's football time in Middle Georgia, and that means it's time for the Macon Touchdown Club. Join us this year as we kick off our 72nd year at the Methodist Children's Home at 304 Pierce Avenue each and every Monday night. Come join us for a night filled of football fun and fellowship. We kick it off September the 11th. The Macon Touchdown Club, honoring student athletes since 1946. To find out more, log on to MaconTouchdownClub.com. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. You know, there comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at U Parkham Used Salem at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. U Parkham Used Salem is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, U Parkham Used Salem has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at U Parkham Used Salem has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at U Parkham Used Salem show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. U Parkham Used Salem, the car lot for you. Remember, folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's U Parkham Used Salem. And welcome back on a Thursday evening. We're live at Stoner's Pizza here on Forsyth Road, Russell East. Glad to have you with us. We had Marvin James on earlier from Channel 13 talking about the high school playoff games. Don't forget, tomorrow both Warner Robins and Peach County play at Mercedes-Benz Dome up in Atlanta. Peach County's game, I believe, is a 12 o'clock kickoff, and I believe Warner Robins might be the late game. We'll try to check that for you before we go off the air. Warner Robins 14-0, Rome 14-0. They'll face each other. Peach County faces Calhoun. They're both 13-1, and Peach's only game they lost was the last play of the game, field goal with 2 seconds on the clock to Warner Robins. But without further ado, let's go to the phone lines, and let's welcome in our Georgia dog of the night, BB Dog, still sky high after that national championship game.
Sir?
Well, I guess I said you're still sky high after that national championship game, ain't you?
Not national championship. But
I'm sorry. Was that a Freudian slip? Wait a minute. Freudian slip there. All right, Brett. So big game last week. The Dogs get it done, get revenge on my Auburn Tigers, and they're off to the playoff game in Pasadena, California, to face Baker Mayfield and the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yep, in Mayfield, I'm watching. It's amazing what's going on in Atlanta, and obviously these two buildings literally touch each other, being where the college football awards are, and the Falcons tuning up to play my hated Saints. And I mean, there's buildings. Chris Fowler keeps saying these buildings are touching each other. No wonder there's traffic. And Mayfield has already won 2 awards tonight. He's going to win the Heisman Saturday. So we're hoping there's some more awards he can win, and he'll be just worn slap ass out.
Yeah, just worn out from picking up trophies, right?
Exactly. What was really cool, Chris Fowler walks down the aisle. Of course, sitting on the left is Saban and Sweeney, and the right is Riley and Kirby. All the coaches there. Pretty cool. And he starts talking to Mayfield. No, he talks to Rokon Smith. And he's so damn humble, a kid from Montezuma. And then Mayfield's sitting off to the right. And he goes up to Mayfield and goes, I don't notice you know how fast number 3 is. It was classic, man. He said, yeah, I think he's pretty fast. I'll be running from him. So it's going to be the Heisman Trophy winner against the Butkus winner in the works.
Well, yeah,
That's
it's
pretty classic, my friend.
I think the committee got it right, and I'll get your thoughts on this. It came down to Alabama and Ohio State. Alabama spent 9 weeks of the year. I believe that's correct. Number 1 in the AP and the coaches poll. Might have been 10 weeks. I know they weren't in the playoff poll number 1 every week, but people knock, Alabama's schedule. Hey, Alabama beat a number 3 Florida State team to open up the season. Their only loss was to number 6 Auburn. They beat a top 20 team in LSU, and they beat a top 16, 18 team in Mississippi State on the road. You know what? I'll take their record as opposed to losing to Iowa by 31 points any day. I think they got it right, Brett. What about you?
I have absolutely know they got it right. We sat here and watched the show, still hungover, still giddy Sunday, and I was a little shocked though. I mean, you were thinking you just don't know. You just don't know. But at the end of the day, you just hit it, and the committee hit it. And I give them kudos because, they sit in that room and they, what I call, put politics aside
and went outside a conference champion, which is half the premise, and chose Bama. And everybody knows that watches college football, including you and I, and your co-host tonight. Ohio State did not get in because of the 31-point drubbing from Iowa. It's obvious. I mean, come on. That's the only reason they're not in this game.
Oh, I agree 100%. It wasn't because of the.
I'm telling you, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, it's not the Oklahoma loss because Oklahoma's the number 2 team in the nation now. But
it's not squeaking by Wisconsin in the Big Ten game. It's all about the Iowa Hawkeyes.
That's exactly right. That is the loss
they could not get past it. So for that, I give them major kudos, and I hope like hell that there's an all-SEC final. How great was that? I mean, come on.
Yeah, you saw my post that I put up last week. The SEC supposedly down this year.
Yeah,
really?
Down.
But we're dominating the New Year's 6 bowls, aren't we?
Exactly. I mean, yeah. What a week year we have. 2 in the Final Four, and the whole sweep of the 6 bowls or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Now
we suck. Yeah, we really suck really bad, guys.
Yeah. And listen, I mean, I think once again the top tier teams in the Southeastern Conference are as good as anybody in the nation, and I think that's the case. It'll be interesting to see. We talked about this Alabama Clemson game, touched on it a little early. I counted it up after they finished up with the Iron Bowl. That basically gives Nick Saban, I think it's going to be 37, 38 days to get his defensive football team healthy and to get his offense back cohesive again. That's a dangerous animal if you're Clemson.
Oh, it's a double-edged dangerous sword because he's had the extra week to coach and get them healthy.
Right.
You're exactly right. He didn't play in a conference game. He had an extra week off. So did the kids. Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's going to get.
And my God, he doesn't need to get really familiar with Clemson, playing them 3 years in a row.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. No, I agree with you.
I think both games, and we seriously are hoping to go to Pasadena. I've already rented a room, but they're great matchups, man. They are phenomenal matchups. I think the Rose Bowl. I mean, we've never played Oklahoma, and we've never been to the Rose Bowl but one time in 75 years because of the conference tie.
Yeah, when was the last year? When was the last year they went? Was it 47?
I can't. You got to do reverse math. It's the 75th anniversary when Frank Sinkwich won the Heisman Trophy.
Okay.
Do the reverse math. So it was in the 40s. I don't know which year in the 40s. But
yeah, it would have been. Yeah. It would have been in the early 40s, and they played UCLA, I think, wasn't it?
We beat them 9-0. Absolutely. Frank Sinkwich and Charlie Trippi. Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, so let's go quickly to this Georgia-Oklahoma game. I'm just doing this for fun. Okay, this is just kind of a fun game right now. We're talking about on December 7th. Alabama Clemson. Just off the top of your head, pick a winner in that game for me. We're not going to get. We got 3 weeks to talk about all this.
I heard you talking
yeah.
Absolutely. I didn't catch the tail end because the phone was ringing. But I'm going to go. I think both games literally again. I think both games. And I'll tell you another thing. I'm glad I just remember this. There's another reason. It would be a great trivia question for 50 dollars. Outside of Ohio State getting drubbed by Iowa, right?
Right.
Another huge region they didn't take Ohio State. Because the last 2 years, the Big Ten in 2 playoff games, my friend, has scored how many points? 0.
0. Yep.
0. Is that what I'm thinking about? 2 drubbings, 0, nothing. Anyway.
And I don't know how much influence that has because I think each team every year kind of stands on their own 2 legs. But mentally in the back of some committee member's mind, you might be correct about that.
If this game was next weekend, I'd predict Clemson by 2 touchdowns, minimally. But they got to quit. They got to cool off, I should say. And Bama's going to get healthy on. Well, both sides of the ball, especially defensively.
Right.
It's going to be another classic. I'm going to go. It's in the dang Superdome. Wow. They're going to be two unbelievable matchups. Just picking with my heart as I always do, which means absolutely nothing. I only know that on the contest. I think they're both going to be high-scoring games. I'm going to go 31-27 Bama. 38-31 Dogs.
Yeah, I would think I think you're right. Everybody's still looking at that Clemson-Alabama game as a defensive game coming in, well, look how many points they put up against each other the last 2 years in the two national championships games. Although I just don't believe that Clemson is as prolific offensively this year as they've been the last 2 years with Sammy Watkins gone and Deshaun Watson gone.
I don't ever watch Clemson. We're either partying on the dog deck or they play too early or whatever. I don't know a lot about it.
Okay, so off the top of your head, man, off the top of my head, I said this game came down to the Georgia defense versus Baker Mayfield on offense, but then I start thinking about it. Listen, I think offensively Georgia's going to score points because Oklahoma is not going to be able to stop the Georgia rushing attack. So the question comes down, can Georgia stop Baker Mayfield?
I think absolutely so, and the reason will be number 7 and number 17, along with a lot of our other sporting cast, will contain that outside. He doesn't run between the tackles. When he gets dangerous, he's running outside. In the past, and I'm talking about running, of course. I mean, he's an unbelievable athlete. There's no telling how many trophies again he's going to take to this ball game. Suitcase full, and he's well deserved. But I just think, man, the Big 12 and the SEC. I don't know the history of the bowls. I'm not that stupid and go back and keep up with all that. But I just think, man, our defense is going to prevail. I really do. I think we're going to play for the dang national championship.
All right, we got a lot of time to talk about it between now and then, so just, take a deep breath. Got a little bit of time to relax.
I got 3 weeks. And I can't breathe, and thank God I'm already over my budget, so I've done my pricing. Now I'm trying to get my tickets and go to the dang Rose Bowl. That's all I care about right now.
What's round trip airfare just off the top of your head going for that game?
That's the thing we don't know because Dawn, works out there half the time. And if we can make it work, hers would be expense possibly. But it's crazy. They're jacking them up. There's friends in my neighborhood, and you've met some, that aren't going to go simply because they feel like they got to fly Delta, and they're just absolutely $1,500 round trip per person. That's absolute BS. That's BS front going.
Yeah, that's why we did. I mean, we went to my wife and I went to the 010 national championship game, and then Auburn played Florida State in 013, and I'll tell you, it was the airfare that kept us from going. It was just ridiculous.
Right, exactly.
So, all right, so we got a lot of time to talk about it between now and the next couple of weeks. So, we'll do a lot of thinking and stinking.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you next Thursday night then.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot.
See you, man. All right, that was BB Dog that was on there with us. Don't forget every Saturday. I guess he's done for right now. Let's see if we can take one more timeout. And we'll come back and we'll talk to an Auburn Tiger about what happened last week. You're listening to Gridiron Gab on DSBN Sports. We'll be back after this timeout. Hey folks, it's Russell from Gridiron Game of the Week. There comes a time when we all start to look for a brand new or even a newer automobile, and as a consumer, your choices have always been limited as to where to shop, and secondly, what to do with your current car. Take it to the local dealer and trade it in for wholesale, ride around town with that ugly for sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at U Parkham Used Salem at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. U Parkham Used Salem is the original automobile dealership with the owner in mind. For almost 18 years, U Parkham Used Salem has been the alternative to giving your car away to the local dealer on a trade-in or trying to market the car yourself. The professional staff at U Parkham Used Salem has 35 years of experience in the automobile industry, and they're there solely to help you through the process of selling or buying your next car. If you have a car car and you're ready to sell it, let the folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em show you how to maximize your vehicle's marketing and financial potential today. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em, the car lot for you. Remember, folks, don't just park it, sell it. Give them a call today, 478-254-6310. That's You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em.
Before you put your company logo or
And welcome back on a Thursday night. We're live from Stoner's Pizza on Forsyth Road. Russell Deese, glad to have you with us as we wrap the show up here on a Thursday night. I want to thank our guest tonight, Charles Crowley of Stoner's Pizza, Marvin James of Channel 13. Of course, your calls. No pick'em contest this week. We want to congratulate Mike Parker for getting it last week for the SEC championship game, and he is in the final drawing for the grand prizes at the end of the year, and a man that has not gotten close yet, but he picks every week religiously and has for a number of years now. Let's go to the phones and let's go get our man Jim Harden. What's up, man?
What's up? I just passed through one of mine in your favorite towns, Shadydale, Georgia, home of the rodeo, and I think Freight Train McLean or was it Night Train Lane? One of them from up there, wasn't it?
From Shadydale, Georgia.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't go through Sparta today, did you?
No, I didn't. I've been in Madison, Monticello, but just through the heart of some of the most beautiful country in America.
Well, I got a good friend that lives over there near there, and his phone number is 444. Okay, before we get into college football, let's talk a little bit high school football tomorrow. Peach County takes on Calhoun. They're both 13-1. Calhoun's only lost to Cartersville, who's got eliminated with their great quarterback. And the Rome Wolves take on the Warner Robins Demons. You got any thoughts on those two games?
I don't know. I got a feeling that Peach County is going to win. I think it'll be a tough one. But maybe the end of the line for the Demons. From what I understand, Rome is quite a talented team. I was actually born in Rome, Georgia, so I had to pull for the Wolves.
The Wolfpack going to feed tomorrow. You know, Jim, they come in, they're averaging 52 points a game. They've only given up 10 points a game. And when they beat Buford University, and Marvin James touched on this too, he said, you know, you don't pay a lot of attention to them because you don't cover them, and who are they really beating by all these points? But when you beat the University of Buford and beat them handily, you sit up and take notice of that football team.
Yeah, I was telling somebody earlier today, Rome, they've obviously gotten their act together up there. It was kind of a long road for them after the East Rome, West Rome consolidation. I think that made a lot of the local folks didn't like that. That was such a great tradition back in the day. They finally got it back. Rome's a great football sports town, and I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years we weren't talking dynasty about Rome. I don't know a ton about them, but they're apparently very talented. And like I said, I know they play a great brand of football up there.
Okay, so they're, like I said, they've rolled through the season. They're 14-0, and so is Warner Robins. But, I don't know about those games. Now, both of those games are tomorrow, so I guess there's 4 games tomorrow, and 4 the next day. You got private single A, public single A, double A, triple A, quad A, then 5, 6, and 7. So they'll double them up. I know Peach County, I think, plays at 12. Warner Robins plays later on that night. They may be the last game. If you're Peach County, you're a little worried about a 12 o'clock kickoff?
Yeah, that's tough. It's a different deal. I think that's a factor in those games, Dome. I know kids, it's a positive thing overall, but it definitely is a change of routine for everybody. Change of scenery, change of venue, obviously, and it's tough. I think a lot of times maybe the outcome of a close game depends on which team handles all that the best.
Yeah, Marvin made a point that Chad Campbell had taken Peach County up, I believe it was, and they practiced at Georgia's indoor facility late this afternoon just to kind of keep their routine the same. So Chad Campbell's a great coach. I think he's done a good job down there at Peach County. He's had a lot of talent down there. That kind of keeps you into the mix every year. But I'd love to see him get him another ring, as they say. And then Warner Robins and Rome, I agree. It's going to be tough for Warner Robins, even though they got Dylan Fromm and Jarius Burnett, the big running backs, had almost 1,200 yards to go with it. The Prom kid will be back next year along with his brother, so they're just juniors this year. So they'll have a tough time tomorrow against the Rome Wolves. I agree. Let's go back and look at last week. Your thoughts on the SEC championship game?
Well, it was different than I thought it was going to be. I think Auburn may have a better team than Georgia. They didn't win when they had to. Injuries. I don't want to sound like a Georgia fan. They whined after the first one, blame it all on turnovers and penalties and all that. Auburn made some key mistakes in the first half and certainly hurt them. Not having the tailback full strength hurt them. But I think as time goes by, Russell, we look back at this and we just kind of look and say, and it hurts because as an Auburn fan, you'd love to have beaten Georgia twice, but it was too tall an order to beat them in that emotional game in Auburn, even though you were at home. And then, you play another game, and then you come back and play Alabama, the other number one team, and then come to Atlanta and play Georgia. It was just, I don't know how looking back on it, I think, again, as time goes by, we're going to say, they really didn't have a chance because if you just look at, kind of those intangible factors that were against them, you just can't, it's hard to play in a 4-week span, play and get up and play those three ball games like that.
Well, it is funny that the outcomes of the two different games were just kind of polar opposites. I agree with you. I mean, who knows what the score in the game could have been had Kerryon Johnson been 100% or the Auburn had. You look back on the season as a whole, Jim, for Auburn, and you go, well, what if Cam Petway had been 100%? Cam Petway was going to be the starter this year, not Kerryon Johnson. And, immediately first week of the season, he gets hurt. Then Kerryon steps up and has a tremendous year, just an unbelievable year. He got named the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. If you're an Auburn fan, it's a great year. You beat your two biggest rivals, and they were both ranked number one when you beat them.
Well, that's right. But in a strange and stupid kind of way, you'd almost, if you're an Auburn fan who lives in the state of Georgia, you almost wish that, they could have unfolded somehow differently and you hadn't had to play them again. But, if you don't have to play them in a rematch, the perception is forever that, 2017 Auburn Tigers were a lot better than the 2017 Georgia Bulldogs because of that whooping they put on the first time.
Well, you know who you can blame on this now, don't you?
What's that?
I said, who you can blame this on now, don't you? Tennessee and Florida.
Why's that?
Because they didn't beat Georgia this year. But all right, so moving on from that, I mean, and you made a good point. I think Auburn fans will look back, and the unfortunate thing that'll get lost in all of this with Georgia and Alabama now in the semifinals is the effort that Auburn did this year will get lost in the shuffle because those two teams, one of those two teams, I think, is going to play in the national championship game.
Yeah, odds are one of them will, for sure.
All right, College Football Playoff Committee, they got it right, didn't they?
I think they did. We talked about it earlier in the week. It's just kind of strange. If Auburn beats LSU, ifs and buts, candy and nuts. But if they beat LSU, they might have lost somebody else. But if they beat LSU and everything else happened the same, Auburn might have been in the number 4 spot instead of Bama. So, but I think they got about as right as they could. I don't know. I'm a traditionalist, but you almost got to come up with a system where you accommodate the conference champions, and you also got to, I hate to say it, but you got to figure out a way to compensate a team. I mean, to compensate for a team like Alabama. It's a great team that doesn't win the conference. They may win it all, and then what do you say? All those people are saying they shouldn't be in because they didn't win their conference. They may be the best of the four. So who knows? But I don't know how you make all that happen. But it just seems like there's a little bit of room there for argument on some other teams every year.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's just like the 64 teams in the basketball in the NCAA tournament. There's always somebody on the bubble that doesn't get in. That probably deserves to get in, regardless of how much you expand the playoff out. We'll see what transpires the next 3 years, but I think this contract runs out in 2020, if I'm correct, and it may go further than that. I'll do some research on that for the show next week. A lot of time to talk about these two. So today is on December the 7th. Just off the top of your head, give me the winner of the two semifinals. Don't want to necessarily need a score. Just looking at it right now today, who wins those two semifinals?
Alabama and Oklahoma.
Alabama and Oklahoma. Okay. And like I've talked to everybody tonight, I mean, since the Auburn game, that gives Nick Saban 39 days, I think, to get ready. I think 38 days to get his football team healthy and ready to play in that semifinal game. And right now, probably Clemson may be the best team in the country. I'm just telling you, I don't want to face Nick Saban if he's got 38 days to get ready for me.
Well, that's right. And I think I made the comment, I said if Georgia played Oklahoma this Saturday, they'd lose. But with 38 days to prepare, they have a better chance to stop Oklahoma's offense. So we'll see.
I agree, because I think
I don't think Georgia's as good as their fans think they are. I don't know how good really Oklahoma is, but I don't think Georgia to win. I think Georgia's the fourth best team in the thing. But they can win it. Who knows? But
I think the layoff hurts offenses more than it does the defenses, and that's what makes Saban and his team dangerous to me, because you just look at what that defense did to everybody this year when they were relatively healthy. It wasn't even funny. They literally destroyed people defensively and just beat them to a pulp with their defense, and then their offense would score 42, 47, 48 points on somebody. You there, or did I lose you? Yep, I lost you. Well, all right. Well, we're going to have to get out of here now. We went past a little long on this. But at any rate, don't forget, next Thursday night we'll be live right here at Stoner's Pizza. We've got 3 more Pick'em contests before we wrap up the Pick'em contest for the year. Once again, I want to thank Mike Parker. Congratulate Mike Parker. He won the Pick'em contest, the SEC championship game between Georgia and Auburn. He is in the drawing for the grand prizes. We also want to thank our guest tonight, Charles Crowley from Stoner's Pizza here. And we want to thank Marvin James as he gave us his insights, as he'll be up at the Mercedes-Benz Dome tomorrow to take in the Georgia High School Association championship games. Peach County plays the early game. Warner Robins plays later on the afternoon. We'll continue to talk about these playoff implication, bowl games. We got a lot of football left in the college football world as we wind down the season. Bowl games will be starting probably in the next 10 days. We'll all get ready for January 1st as Oklahoma Sooners and the Georgia Bulldogs meet at the Rose Bowl in California, in Pasadena, California. And the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Clemson Tigers take on each other at Mercedes-Benz Dome at the Superdome down in New Orleans. I want to thank everybody's call. A lot of calls to talk about, a lot of things to talk about between now and those playoff games, and we're going to get it covered. We're going to do it every Thursday night. That's going to do it for tonight. We'll see you next Thursday night live from Stoner's Pizza right here on Forsyth Road. Be careful out there. The roads are nasty and wet. Be careful if you're driving up to see the Warner Robins Demons and the Peach County Trojans tomorrow for the state championship game. We want to wish both of those teams luck and hope the Demons and the Trojans bring home a state title to Middle Georgia. That's going to do it for us here tonight from Stoners on Forsyth Road. We'll see you, everybody, next Thursday night. Our time is up. We thank you for yours. sale sign in the back window, or park it in your driveway and hope somebody stops by and they're really there to look at your car. Well, that's where the fine folks at You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em at 3306 Vineville Avenue in Macon come in. You Park 'Em, You Sell 'Em is the original automobile dealership with